Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. My name is Diego Dario, and in tonight's game plan, it's day one of Team Philippines campaign in the 2021 Asian Women's Club Volleyball Championship. We'll break down Choco Mucho's first game in the tournament.
We'll also discuss the big wins of San Miguel and Magnolia in the PBA's playoffs as the Beermen set up a duel with the TNT Tropang Giga, and the hot shots await the winner between the Morocco Bolts and the NLEX Road Warriors. And we'll talk about the huge comeback win of our Gilas Pilipinas women against India to cap off their 2021 FIBA Asia Cup campaign. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, Choco Mucho Philippines began their campaign in the AVC 2021 Asian Women's Club Volleyball Championship, falling to Nakhon Ratchasima in 3 sets. Meanwhile, Rebisco Philippines is currently facing Kazakhstan's Altai for their first match. To help us break down the performance of Choco Mucho Philippines earlier, we have UAAP Control Committee President and the analyst of the game earlier, and also the analyst of the game now, Noreen Go. Noreen, great to have you back.
Hey,
Hi, Noreen.
how are you guys?
We're good. So first of all, before we even begin going into this game, let's try to contextualize just what type of team we did send out there to face off against some of the best club teams in the continent. So looking at the team that we had there, a bit different because of all of the changes due to health, and you could see a bit of the adjustment that they had to make. It wasn't as smooth as we wanted it to be. But how important is this particular tournament for this group of girls?
Well, for me, I think we have to look at it as a program of the Volleyball Association. So the first step is this tournament, but of course there are long-term goals, different tournaments. So like we said earlier in the game, before it started, we have to manage expectations. This is a new team, new girls, you can see, young girls, veterans. It's a mixture, but it's really important for them to start going out. Yeah. Because they have to deal with the pandemic, you know.
Yes.
They have to deal, how are we going to deal with the pandemic? We just be careful, you know, as much as we can, but we have to compete because we have to continue the program.
Yeah, and now that we know the context of this whole tournament, just your general thoughts on the first game of Choco Mucho.
Well, for me, the second set is huge for them.
Yeah.
You know, it was a close match. We kind of knew that Thailand is stronger, but they showed, you know, they can play well together and make it close. So can you imagine if they gel more,
Yeah.
if they train
It's
longer?
gonna be exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, so if in future tournaments, you're going to see them really compete.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned about the gelling, and maybe that was the most obvious issue that the team had. But then what happened that second set, in your opinion, that really got them close to getting it? Remember, they actually had set point at one point, and unfortunately, it fell apart for them in the end.
For me, if you look at the lineup, they're really strong players. So again, the gelling, no, but we can see in the second set, if they play well together, you know, they can actually compete. So that's just a glimpse of the future for me, which is good and positive for the national team.
And they were that close, no, to getting that, you know, that set. But how about the individual performances? Who stood out for you in that game?
For me, in the second set, it was Dina Wong and Mylene Paat. You know, they played well, mixed it up. Mylene Paat, we always say, plays well in international tournaments. And they played well. And everybody followed suit. We saw MJ Phillips and Kalemao play, you know, have points as well. Even Meneses. So those two players, actually, they're the spark plugs for the team. And again, we look to the future. The tournament right now is just a stepping stone for me.
Absolutely. And you know, I want to talk a bit about Mylene because you mentioned that, parang umiiba siya eh.
Yeah.
When she puts on
international
national team jersey, or just what's different about her when she plays for club and for country that, kung baga sa basketball to, Gilas game.
Oh, mas magaling sa Gilas compared to, like, let's say, the PBA.
That game's not great at the club level, but I'm just saying na parang umiba yung level niya eh. What is it about Mylene?
For me, I think she's just more fun. I mean, that's for me.
For you.
Arguably, but she just seems more focused when she's in international tournaments, and
Okay.
she gets the opportunity to play. And when she does, the confidence that she brings out in the game, it's a different Mylene Paat. So it's very exciting to see.
And how about, they lost that game in 3 sets, but what do you think they can improve on more, looking
okay,
forward?
Mahaba yating listahan.
Yeah,
I
but
just
like-
heard your sigh.
No, first ball, really.
Yeah.
It all stems there. If you have poor first ball, everything else will fall apart. So that's one thing they struggled in today's game. So in the future games, they just have to have solid first pass, and you can see the offense will flow.
Well, looking at that first ball, I also felt that this team, talking about Choco Mucho, medyo na-scout sila eh. It felt that way because it felt like a lot of people were avoiding our libero. And it felt like nothing was going her way. And what does that tell you about the attention to detail of the level of the competition that we have here in the ABC?
Well, obviously, the Thailand team is a very strong team, very smart team. They've been
Yes.
playing together for so long. They will scout. And Don Macandili has made a name for herself already. And the smart team that they are, they know who to give it to and who not to. And obviously, that's one thing we have to do in future games.
And you mentioned that team played well together. They've been playing long for a while now.
Yeah.
But compared to our team, they trained in a bubble. Not a lot of games for them. Ano yung difference nun na syempre game shape is different from training?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a point to look at when it comes to this team?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, the fitness and the attitude of these girls really, you need more training.
Yeah.
You need more training. It's obvious, It's obvious. It's a club championship. And
Yeah.
you can see at Thailand, obviously, they're just enjoying, played very long together. So again, I keep saying, I keep reiterating, it's just a stepping stone for, the program. And we just have to be hopeful as fans and support the national team.
Well, speaking about supporting the national team, they're not the only national team out there. Rebisco's now playing against Altai. The expectations of the teams are a bit different because of the composition.
Right.
Well, at least originally that was the case, but then the rosters had to be shuffled. What are your expectations for them in this tournament? I know the game's currently ongoing. So if you're actually watching us instead of that game, thank you very much. But what are your expectations of this Rebisco team?
I'm actually very excited because a lot of young players there who didn't see action because of the start of COVID.
Yeah.
Like you have Faith Desperas and so on. No? So I'm pretty excited to see them and for them to get the exposure. Again, manage expectations, and we have to give it to them not to grow in this tournament and in future tournaments. But I'm excited. I'm really psyched and excited and hopeful for Team Rebisco.
Well, so for the fans out there, they really can't, expect a lot of wins right away. They have to trust the process for this tournament. And it's going to be exciting what's going to happen soon.
Absolutely. And I actually, to talk a bit more about that, because we were saying that, okay, so this is the start for maybe some of the younger players out there. It's going to be tough for them to gain all that experience. But based on what we've seen so far in that first game, and if I'm sure Rebisco looked at that game, Mucho as well. Do you feel that right now the emphasis will have to be maybe more on floor defense and trying to make sure that you're not as leaky in terms of giving away points as compared to maybe just like focusing on the offense the entire time?
Oh, yeah, we always say even in other sports, defense is the best offense. So
Yeah.
if you have
Yes.
solid defense, at least your offense can relax a bit. But it's really basic. Let's
Yeah.
go back to basic. Volleyball 101, first pass.
Yeah.
First pass should be solid if you're playing against strong teams, if you want to have a chance to keep it close.
Yeah, passing was actually one of the things that went around on social media during the game that you were watching.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, because, people were saying that maybe if there was a better passing involved in the game, might have maybe that second set might have gone our way. But
Could
still, that's a lot of could be.
Could
But
be.
anyway,
Yeah.
volleyball fans, Rebisco Philippines is going up against Kazakhstan's Altai live right now on One Sports Plus, and via the Asian Volleyball Confederation's Facebook page. Rebisco Philippines will also have 2 games over the weekend, 4:30 p.m. on Saturday and 7 p.m. also on Saturday. While Choco Mucho will have its next game tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. as well. Now, thank you for joining us, Noreen. That was a lot of fun. I'm sure we're going to hear more from you. If I'm not mistaken, you'll be here in the studio in the
Tomorrow.
general area.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we're gonna hear more from you very soon. Thank you very much.
Glad
Thanks,
to be here.
Noreen.
Thank you.
So, after the break. We'll break down the big wins of the San Miguel Beermen and the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok in the PBA playoffs as they head to the Philippine Cup semifinals. Stay tuned. You're watching the game. Welcome back to the game. I'm Paolo Del Rosario. The PBA semifinals picture is almost complete, and now let's check out our playoff bracket. Here's an updated look at it as Barangay Ginebra San Miguel is now out. The defending champions are dethroned. We're going to have a new champion. This conference will be the Team Tropang Giga, who will take on the San Miguel Beermen. Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok have advanced at the expense of the rain or shine Alaska Painters. And of course, happening right now, Meralco Bolts against the NLEX Road Warriors. Who's going to get that ticket to get into the semifinals? Best of 7. And then the winner of that will move on to the finals. Also, a best of 7. Let's break down the games ahead of the semifinals. Helping us for our discussions, none other than my partner, Jego Dario. Jegs, wow, host, analyst, you're doing everything.
Back to my analyst mode.
So that means I'll be asking the questions and you don't ask me anything. That's how it'll all work out. So, general thoughts first. That matchup, San Miguel against San Miguel and TNT. That's a lot of people are looking at that. Carlos said just yesterday, I think, that the winner of that matchup will come out as the favorites to win the entire thing. And a lot of people are saying, sana finals na lang to eh. But that's not how it all turned out. What do you have to say about this matchup?
Well, first of all, they escaped, the Game 1 victory with Northport with that Alex Cabagnot buzzer.
Yep.
But, Northport, credit to Northport, they played well this whole conference. But it's going to be San Miguel who will be advancing, and they're going to be playing up against TNT, and it's going to be exciting matchups, Mikey Williams will be guarded by, the game's one of the best defenders in the league in Chris Ross, Junmar Fajardo against the bigs of TNT, Jason Castro still there. So, it's going to be interesting because San Miguel is the only team that gave TNT their loss here in the Elimination Cup. And they're going to be going 7 games, hopefully, so that they would have a super solid competition for that.
It's funny because that game wasn't even close. If people remember that, okay, everyone's saying, TNT was such a dominant team. But then the one team that really smacked them was the San Miguel Beermen. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup. So we also have Magnolia advancing, again, at the expense of Rain or Shine. How do they look, in your opinion? Calvin Abueva looks great. A lot of people are saying that maybe this is a team of destiny. They haven't won with Calvin yet, and maybe this might be his time. He hasn't been a champion since, I believe,
Alaska,
2013.
I think, right? Yeah. So talking about this Magnolia team, they beat Rain or Shine in that game 2 to take them home. Because they played their game. Rain or Shine loves playing low-scoring ball games, but that time they almost scored 100. So that's going to be in the favor of that Magnolia team. But talking about their next matchup, it's going to be either Meralco or NLEX, but Magnolia is going to be a tough team to beat, especially with Calvin Abueva being very consistent in the boards, just working hard, and just being the center of that Magnolia team.
We're taking a look at some of the leading scorers from that final game. So first of all, it's great to see James Yap top scoring again. Because, grabe, napaka-throwback yun
Vintage James Yap.
Sobrang vintage. 16 points. And he was lighting up from beyond the arc. But of course, Paul Lee, Calvin Abueva, J. Olalon coming up big. And it's always a great thing if you're a Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok fan to see Paul Lee hitting his stride when it matters the most. Now, let's take a moment to recognize what Northport and Rain or Shine did in this particular Philippine Cup campaign. Northport, very exciting. They had some of the best games throughout the elimination round, especially with the way that their games finished. We've seen a couple of them. And the ceiling is the roof for
Yeah.
this team, definitely, with Bolick, Greg Slaughter, Malonzo, and all of his dunks. It's incredible what this team can do.
Well, you've been saying that the ceiling is the roof, and
Yeah.
that's true for this Northport team, Pao. They played well this Philippine Cup. Robert Bolick, coming from an injury, props to him. He's way better than he was before that injury.
Yeah.
And then addition of Greg Slaughter, he's found this groove. He's found a new home here with Northport. And Jamie Malonzo, come on.
Yeah.
We all know that he can dunk. He has all the highlights. He's
Yeah.
probably the most viral player in the PBA in that Elimination Cup. But he also showed us that he can shoot the threes, he can defend, he can rebound for his team. So this Northport team, low-key, is also a deep team. And it's going to be exciting for the next conference.
Reinvigorated Greg Slaughter, Jamie Malonzo, who's not just a dunker, he can do everything, and of course, Robert Bolick with the meanest mustache in the game. So, moving, of course, syempre yung bigote niya, ibang klase talaga yun eh. Looking at the Rain or Shine and Last of Painters, so they were a team who liked to slow things down.
Yeah.
They wanted to try and be smart with their players, and for the large part of the campaign, they were. We saw James Yap, they were trying to keep him, they were trying to be conservative about him, and then he came up big when they needed to. What do you have to say about this Rain or Shine team that understood that they needed to do things a bit differently to reach as far as they did?
Well, I like what Coach Chris Gavina did for this Rain or Shine team. He right away he proved that their culture is going to be defense more than offense, and
Yeah.
they proved to be the best defensive team here in the PBA. They forced teams, below 80 points, and that's going to be their advantage coming into the next conference. And the question is their offense.
Yeah.
They can defend teams, but at some points they're gonna have to score and look for more points. So it's gonna be interesting, especially with imports in the next conference.
Yeah, so right now, there's going to be the matchup between the Magnolia Hatch at Pambansang Manok and the winner of the Meralco Bolts and the NLEX series. So right now, at the moment, it is Meralco leading 48-35. Is there a favorite or preferred matchup for you if you're Magnolia? So at least we can tell the Magnolia fans, okay, you can cheer for this team.
Yeah.
Kasi sabi ni Diego eh.
Well, if you're Magnolia, you want NLEX to win. That's gonna be an easier matchup for them because Kiefer's not playing. Although, Calvin Oftana's been playing well, Jericho Cruz, Don Troliano, Loki, they've been stepping up without Kiefer. But if you're Magnolia, you don't want Meralco moving on to the next round because, they're a team, they're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
They're in the top 2, but no players in the top 10. So it just goes to show how the chemistry of this team. No one's really the star. They just move the ball around. Anyone can score in a specific night.
Arrancada or charge forward? We're gonna find out soon enough. Again, it's the third quarter between the NLEX Road Warriors and Meralco Bolts. So we'll figure out if we can get an update right before the end of the show. But until then, Jegs, good job. Okay, be a host again. Okay,
Back
we're
to host
gonna ask
mode.
questions again right after this. So when we return, we'll talk about the epic comeback win of the Gilas Pilipinas women against India in their final game of the 2021 FIBA Asia Cup. Stay tuned. You're watching the game.
Welcome back to the game. My name is Diego Dario. If you tuned in at midnight last night for the final game of our Gilas Pilipinas women in the FIBA Asia Cup, congratulations! You witnessed a comeback of epic proportions.
Epic!
The Philippines officially remains in Division A under FIBA classifications as they defeat India in a come-from-behind victory 74-70. Janine Puntels kept the team alive with her offensive barrage in the first half, and the sharp-shooting Kate Castillo brought it home down the stretch. Now joining us tonight to break down the game and of course celebrate the win is former Gilas women member and also a former star fighting Maroon Power. I would have to mention that again.
Sige.
Bea Daez Fabros. Bea, welcome back to the game.
Hi, Jags. Hi, Pao. Thank you for having me again.
Can I just say, I'm gonna miss having this background behind us kasi we only have it every time Bea's here. Hindi kapag FIBA, hindi kapag FIBA Asia Women's Cup, but then, when she's over here, purple na yung background namin.
Yeah, Bea.
But okay, so Bea, this game in particular, a lot closer than some fans would have liked, but then Philippines coming up with a win, 74-70. Your thoughts?
Well, it was at the strong start that we all wanted, with India coming out very aggressive on the defensive end. You could see that they were forcing multiple turnovers on interceptions, and they were running the break, really pushing that ball with those very quick outlet passes. But we had Janine Pantejos, who kept us alive in the first half, scoring 17 points of her 22. But it was really the turnaround in the third quarter. Alam mo, actually, a while ago, I had a video call with the players of the team, and they told me na during halftime, medyo parang sinigawan sila ni Coach Pat. Medyo parang sabi niya na, let's go, kailangan talaga natin manalo. And that wake-up call was all that they needed. And ganun talaga si Coach Pat. That's how he motivates his players. And lucky for all of us, it all paved the way for that win. We saw that magical third quarter when they came out rejuvenated with so much energy, pressing all those ball handlers, forcing turnovers. And there you can see Kate Castillo and Janine Pantejos coming out really big with 22 points at least.
So they were basically the Splash Sisters in that game. But before we move on, I'm actually really curious. Kapag nagalit si Coach Pat, can you describe it to us? How he is when he's emotional during a halftime break?
Naubos na yung voice ni Coach Pat for sure.
Pagising lang yan, parang, ano ba? Ano natin manalo? Ganun siya.
Well, we all know that Coach Pat is, one of the great motivators, especially in women's basketball. And you talked about the team dynamics of that whole game. But let's talk about, like what Pao said, the Splash Sisters. Pontejos and Castillo tandem, they both had 22 points. Let's talk about them. What are your thoughts about them, Bea?
Well, the both of them literally shot the lights out last night. They combined with 44 points, more than half the team's output of 74 points. For Janine Pantejos, we all know that she's given the green light to shoot. She has that scorer's mentality. And lucky for all of us, at the onset of the game, she already caught fire, making 17 points in the first half when India was really making a barrage of points. For Kate Castillo naman, she was the one who really lit the fire in that third quarter that allowed us to get back the lead against India. She scored 7 3-point shots, and she seems to love going up against India because in 2019, when we went up against India again for the same 7th spot of the league, she also scored 18 points of 5 3-pointers. So she's really just a great shooter, and what a time for her to come alive last night against India.
I think she's the most unwelcome person in India because of what she's doing to the national team. Pero look, apart from them, well, we always talk about Afril because of the fact that she's just a great scorer, she's just a great all-around player.
She's been consistent the whole
but
tournament.
then today, in this particular game rather, she only had 9 points. But let's take a look at her stat line. Kasi grabe pa rin eh. 9 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 4 blocks. Grabe, those are Diego Dario numbers.
Wow. If there's women's fantasy, I'll take April all day.
Pero let's take a look at what Afril did and just her all-around game. Kasi grabe siya. When she goes up for rebounds, she doesn't care that she's shorter. She goes up to block you. She doesn't care if you're taller. And her timing is incredible for her size. Can you talk a bit about what she does apart from scoring? Kasi grabe talaga eh.
Actually, a fun fact about Afro Bernardino. She didn't start out playing basketball. It wasn't her first sport. I remember when she was a rookie in the UAAP, all she was doing was just getting all those rebounds all the time. Minsan, malaki pa nga yung rebounds niya versus yung points niya when she was starting out in her first rookie year. And that's really just what she brings, She eventually evolved her game to become a scorer as well. But if she's not able to get her game in points, you can really depend on her on all the other intangibles such as rebounds, hustle, those steals, those monster blocks as well. And that's what she brings to the table, a complete package for Coach Pat Aquino and the Gilas team.
I'm curious, Jegs, what do you think her first sport was?
Who, Afril?
Yeah.
Probably American football.
But, babe, what was her first sport? What was her first sport?
Track and field.
Track and field.
Okay,
Okay.
like American football.
She's very physical in the court. Yeah. Anyway, Bea, so we talked about specifically that game, but let's talk about the whole campaign of this women's team. This India game was a bright spot for them, but you could see the heart, the effort of this team the whole campaign. What can you say about them?
There was no shortage, of resilience and heart for this Gilas team. Their backs were against the wall once again for the second straight time. In 2019, it happened once again here in 2021, going up against India in a do-or-die game with the risk of being relegated back to level 2.
Yeah.
But this time, we actually had the shorter hand because we put in a shorter lineup with no legitimate center aside from Claire Castro. We had a shorter preparation time. We had a lot of new rookies, new players in the team. But then again, they didn't let all of those negative things block their way. They stayed true to their team, to their game plan, and they were able to come back from a come from behind win against India. And still today, I'm very happy and very, very proud of all of them that they will remain in FIBA Asia Level 1 because that is where they belong.
Absolutely. And, we were also talking a bit about... Actually, we have, obviously, we have your notes here right in front of us. And you said that the future is bright for this Gilas program. And I agree that it is. But when you look at the pieces that we have here, again, this is not a complete team by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
Wala pa si Jaka Nimam, wala pa yung mga film reinforcements and so on and so forth. But then, based on what you've seen, especially from the younger ones, how confident are you that you not just sustain this level of success, but then become even better as the years go by?
Well, it is just so important for them to have this early international exposure at the onset of their careers with the likes of Camille Perrin, Ella Fajardo, Cayabyab, Tingol. They played like they were not rookies. And to have this exposure, to have this experience will just make them get so much better and get so equipped with the style of play in the international scene because we all know that it's a whole different ball game there. So I'm just so happy that the program that we have is evolving, is getting so much bigger, is getting so much exposure for everyone. And this is what we need to be able to make women's basketball in the Philippines so much bigger than what it is today.
You know what? With that, I'm gonna make you the spokesperson of women's basketball to the Filipina fans out there. Your
Well, she
message.
is.
Oh yeah, but she is technically, right? And that's why she's here on the show.
Gabi yung ugat ko for women's basketball.
Yeah.
No, but then your message to the young Filipina baller out there who just watch our Gilas Pilipinas team finally get a win in India and hopefully try to be better despite height disadvantages.
Yes. Well, to all those youngsters, to all those young female ballers who want to make it to the national team one day, who want to make it big, I hope the Gilas team is an inspiration to all of you that we can make it, that we belong in the highest level of competition here in the FIBA Asia Cup. And it all starts, in the grassroots level. Just always work hard and have that goal because anything is possible, especially with what we showed in the Gilas team.
And if you want to be like Bea Daez, you just have to work hard. Bea Daez is one of the hardest workers in UP.
Can I just say, I thought that she's also going to say that she already filed her COC to run for whatever position she wants to. Pero Bea, salamat. Thank you very much. And we hope to hear from you soon.
Thanks, Bea.
All right, and we can't wait to check in with our Gilas women after they return home from the FIBA Asia Cup.
And that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. My name is Diego Dario.
Catch us weeknights here on One News, One Sports, and One Sports Plus. There's still a lot of volleyball going on as well as the PBA, so catch that. I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.
Thank you.